Keith Taylor, Green MEP for the South East. What do you make of these latest figures from the UK government on air pollution?
Well, they come as no surprise because we've been saying for the last 2 years that it really looks as if the government is failing miserably to meet the nitrogen dioxide targets. And we've just had confirmation of that just yesterday. And really, it's not good enough.
And when you say it's not good enough, why does it matter that these pollution targets are met? Why are they so important?
Well, I don't think many people realise that air pollution is the second biggest killer after smoking. And that is something which blights every city in the South East, every town, every village. Not only does it destroy lives, it also costs an awful lot of money and puts pressure on our health services.
Now, presumably the UK government is working to improve air pollution. Do you think they can be doing more, or are the EU targets too strict? Where does the problem lie, do you think?
The problem lays, and it's a complicated problem. I wouldn't want to underestimate how difficult solving the problem is, but nevertheless the British government took a part in setting the standards back in 1999, and they've since completely failed to take sufficient measures towards meeting those standards. And rather far from actually making a concerted effort to move towards the standards, the government in its recent consultation is actually trying to water down the implementation, the monitoring of it. And this is simply not good enough. We need positive action, and that's why the Greens here in the Parliament are actually supporting calls for Commissioner Potocnik to actually take infraction action against the British government.
And when it comes to nitrogen dioxide, which seems to be the type of pollution where in the South East there are particular problems, is this really down to traffic, to cars? Is that where a lot of this pollution is coming from, or where does the problem come from?
Well, I mean, the majority of air pollution comes from transport, from cars, from lorries, from buses. About 70% is transport generated. And we need to find different ways of transporting ourselves and our goods across the region that don't actually have this toxic legacy that, simply put, is killing people.
When you say it's a toxic legacy and there are other transport solutions, what kind of transport solutions would you like to see in the South East? How achievable would they be to put into place in your region?
Well, I mean, I think we can go from one end, the clean air zones, low emission zones that are already in practice in some places, to encourage sustainable transport, bikes, buses, trains, and actually to encourage car sharing. Encourage walking, to have big major employers having travel plans for their staff so they can get about in the least damaging way. I mean, it's a complicated problem, but we need to use all the resources that we have, right from the planning function in our cities, down to the policies about encouraging or discouraging or managing travel in the city centres, because it's in the city centres that we've got the best opportunity to provide sustainable transport, and we've got the worst problems. So really, if we concentrate on the cities, 80% of Europe lives in a city now. If we do that concentration of our efforts there, then we're well on the way to help making a real difference, a real impact on those targets. But really, we need the political will from the British government, which is sadly lacking at the moment.